NDEs, near-death experiences, are they real? I will keep this topic short, but very informative about something I've wanted to talk about for a while now. There's been several topics that I have done on the spirit and on death, but I never got deep into the NDE, near-death experience part of death, where people state they've died and come back, and some come back with the abilities to have visions of the future, predict present events. Now, my thing is how much of this is real, because now it seems that everyone and their mama is on YouTube with their story of an NDE. Now, you tell me, what's plausible here? How can we tell what is real and what is fake with so many videos? And that's what we will be doing here today. We're going to find out if these stories are plausible or just faked, and give you the keys to knowing the difference between a real NDE with the all one, or is it with a deceptive angel portraying to be of the true light of the Creator? So I really thought this would be a good topic to dive into. So let's get it in. Okay, so here's what's plausible about near-death experiences, NDEs, and what we can weigh carefully. The common core of NDEs. Across cultures and centuries, people report strikingly similar things when they die and return. A sense of leaving the body, out-of-body awareness, moving through a tunnel or into light, meeting beings, sometimes ancestors, sometimes angelic. Life review, a panoramic replay with emotions included, a sense of love, peace, or oneness. These patterns are too consistent worldwide to dismiss as coincidence. That suggests there's some real spiritual neurological threshold being crossed. The brain science side neurologists explain NDEs as oxygen deprivation to the brain, release of DMT-like chemicals, the brain hallucinating in its shutdown. But the mystery is, how do some people report verifiable details while clinically dead, like describing the surgery room from above or seeing something in another room? That slips past the brain-only explanation. The gifts afterward. Some come back changed, sharper intuition, psychic dreams, healing touch, or visions of world events. This part is harder to measure, but it parallels what shamans, prophets, and mystics describe after death initiation rituals. It's like touching the Akashic layer of reality leaves a permanent imprint. The plausibility filter. What's real versus what's storytelling? Authentic cases usually have humility, detail, and no push for fame or money. Dubious cases often feel sensational, repetitive, or branded for clicks. So yes, the phenomenon itself is plausible and very real in many cases, but the noise on YouTube makes it harder to separate genuine encounters from exaggerated retellings. My take on this: NDEs are genuine glimpses beyond the veil. Not everyone comes back with prophetic abilities, but those who do may have tapped into a kind of permanent open circuit with the spirit realm. And if listen to the stories, some say that they are met by family members or certain angels like Michael or Gabriel. And that's one of the strongest recurring threads in NDE testimonies, being greeted by family members or a radiant being, often interpreted as an angel, guide, or sometimes given a name like Michael, Gabriel, etc. Here's how that looks when we sift it through spiritual history and Oahspe's cosmology. Meeting family. Many NDErs say they see parents, grandparents, or even children who've passed on. Plausibility. This matches Oahspe's teaching that the spirit world, at least the lower heavens, is filled with familiar spirits, kin and friends who linger near earth. They are allowed to meet the new arrival to soften the transition. But Oahspe also warns that not all familiar spirits are evolved. Some remain bound by earthly desires, so what appears as grandma may not always be a fully risen soul. Meeting angels. Many describe being met by a radiant guide, sometimes nameless, sometimes identified as Michael, Gabriel, or another figure from their religious background. Plausibility. Oahspe teaches that the heavens are ordered in ranks: guardian angels, ushars, teaching spirits, and higher Etherians. But names like Michael may be interpretive. The being itself could be a personal guide or an Etherian spirit, but the experiencer translates the presence into their cultural or religious framework. A Christian may say Michael, a Hindu might say Yama or a deity, and a Buddhist might simply say a radiant being of compassion. Why this happens? Think of death as crossing a vibrational threshold. The mind-spirit meets what is familiar and comforting, sometimes truly kin, sometimes higher beings cloaking themselves in familiar forms. Oahspe puts it like this: Spirits appear in likenesses that the soul can receive without fear. The deeper question. If someone says, I met Archangel Michael, the deeper truth may be, they met a radiant guide of protection, and their brain filtered it through the Michael image. That doesn't make it false. It makes it translation through their soul's dictionary. So in short, family encounters equals highly plausible. Spirits of relatives are near the newly dead. Named angels like Michael, plausible, but more likely a guide filtered through cultural expectation than literally the biblical archangel appearing at every bedside. Some even state that they were taken to golden palaces or crystal palaces or soared higher in orbit and saw planets, stars, and whole universes being born. And that's another fascinating layer. When people describe golden palaces, crystal cities, or soaring into the cosmos, we're seeing the upper spectrum of NDE accounts, not just meeting relatives, but glimpsing structured realms of light. Palaces and crystal cities. Many NDEs describe radiant cities of light with crystal towers, halls of wisdom, or golden temples. Oahspe's parallel. In the ethereal heavens, higher raised angels build oceanic plateaus, crystal habitations, arches of light, and cities that shine like suns. They're not palaces in the earthly sense, but vast spirit world structures woven from vortexian currents. So when someone says, I saw a golden palace, it may be their mind translating the glory of an ethereal colony into a symbol it can grasp. Cosmic soaring and planetary births. Some NDEs go beyond the personal earthly and describe seeing planets being formed, stars birthing, or vast cosmic currents. Oahspe's parallel. Souls raised higher, those unafraid, unattached to earth, may be shown the cosmic workshop of Jehovah, how nebulae condense, how vortexes spiral into suns, how new worlds come into being. This is especially consistent with the book I am reading, Oahspe, and the idea that in death, souls attune to the vibration they're suited for. Advanced souls might get a glimpse of the creative process itself, what Oahspe calls the labors of Jehovah's host. Why these visions differ. Not everyone sees this. Those attached to earth, family, grudges, religion, stay near familiar images. Those free in spirit may ascend into cosmic or ethereal visions. The spectrum goes from hospital room, relatives, radiant guide, crystal heavens, cosmic creation. Plausibility filter here. Crystal palaces and golden halls equals plausible, but symbolic interpretation of actual ethereal colonies. Cosmic visions of star birth equals plausible, but likely rare and reserved for souls with greater attunement. And as I have always stated, if the Spirit isn't showing you how to rise to the Father and teaching to worship the Father only, then it is a false spirit of deception, as the Oahspe states. This is the key discernment Oahspe gives again and again, and how it applies to these NDE stories. The true spirit versus the false. True spirits, Ashars, Etherians, always point the soul upward to Jehovah, the ever-present, teaching humility, service, and resurrection. False spirits, Luchas, Drujaspi, or self-proclaimed gods, try to keep souls bound to them, to worship names, to dwell on palaces, power, or fear. So if the afterlife vision is, worship Jehovah, rise higher, serve others, it is a true light. Worship me, stay in my palace, you have arrived, it is a false light, a glamour woven by Drujan hosts. Why some NDEs show crystal cities? Sometimes it is the true higher heavens. The vision fills the soul with humility and awe, but always points beyond the city, toward Jehovah. Other times, it's a snare. A Drujan kingdom can appear magnificent, but the rulers still crave worship. Oahspe warns, the false god buildeth his throne of light, but he turneth the eyes of mortals to himself instead of the all-light. The core test, from Oahspe's perspective. Ask of any spirit or vision, does it call me to Jehovah, the great spirit, above all names? Does it teach me to rise by service, purification, and wisdom? Or does it entangle me in worship of forms, angels, palaces, or names? Only the first path is safe, the rest are illusions of bondage. So yes, many NDEs are genuine, but not all are pure in light. Some are beautiful traps. The deciding factor is the message left behind. If the experiencer comes back saying, I was told to honor Jehovah and love all creation, that's true light and love. Or I was told I'm special, chosen, or to worship Michael, Jesus, or some other god, that's total deception. So when we hear someone say they've had an NDE, it could be the real thing. But here's the key, not every NDE is equal. Some are true glimpses of Jehovah's higher ways, while others are only partial or even deceptive encounters with earthbound spirits. When it's likely genuine, the experience leaves the person changed for the better, more loving, humble, serving, less fearful of death. The message is Jehovah-centered, worship of the ever-present, not of a named God or angel. The vision uplifts the soul to rise higher, not to cling to crystal palaces or titles. When it's questionable, the person returns with pride, claiming they are special or chosen above others. The message focuses on worship of a personality, angel, or God name rather than the all-light. The vision is more about spectacle, gold, crowns, thrones, than eternal truth. The Oahspe lens, Oahspe makes it plain. There are true heavens and false heavens. True heavens, ruled by Ethereans who serve Jehovah, leading souls upward. False heavens, ruled by self-made gods or spirits who imitate light but crave worship. So when someone says, "I had an NDE," the honest answer is, yes, it could be real, but the spirit world has both light and deception. The test is always whether it points back to Jehovah, the ever-present. It's all about the love, humility, and the uplifting of those below you, as Oahspe states. That's the heart of it. Oahspe emphasizes over and over that true spiritual power is measured not by glory or knowledge alone, but by love, humility, and service. Love, the genuine, selfless care for all beings, even those who have wronged you. Humility, knowing you are but a small part of Jehovah's vast creation, never claiming supremacy. Uplifting others, helping those below you, meaning anyone less advanced spiritually, physically, or morally, so they too may rise. This is the real test of any NDE, vision, or spiritual encounter. Does it inspire the soul to grow in these three virtues, or does it inflate pride and attachment? Even the highest palaces, the brightest light, or the most spectacular visions are meaningless if they don't lead the soul to serve Jehovah through love, humility, and uplifting others. So when we see these videos on YouTube with people stating they've had an NDE, you can use this as a map to know what's false and what is of the Great Spirit. Think of it like a spiritual compass. You don't have to accept every story at face value. You can measure each NDE account against these criteria. The Oahspe Truth Filter for NDEs. 1. Does it point to Jehovah, the Great Spirit, above all names? True. The Spirit directs the soul to worship and rise to the Father. False. The Spirit asks for worship of angels, saints, or the self. 2. Does it inspire love and humility? True. The experiencer comes back more loving, forgiving, and humble. False. The vision inflates pride, fear, or obsession with status. 3. Does it teach service and uplifting of others? True. The person is motivated to help others rise spiritually. False. The experience is self-centered or just for spectacle. 4. Is it consistent with known spiritual law and natural order? True. Aligns with Oahspe and timeless spiritual principles. False. Contradicts laws of creation or promotes deception. 5. Does it focus on ephemeral splendor or eternal truth? True. Even radiant palaces or cosmic visions serve as stepping stones upward. False. Glamour, wealth, or titles are the end goal, not tools for growth. How to apply it to YouTube stories. Watch for the core message, not the spectacle. Ask, after this experience, is the person closer to Jehovah or to themselves? Treat dazzling visuals with caution. Sometimes they're symbolic or even deceptive. Look for consistent humility, love, and service as the signature of a real encounter. A closing reflection framed in the voice and wisdom of Oahspe, specifically tuned to NDEs, the spirit world, and discernment. And Jehovah said, "Behold, the way of the Spirit is vast, and the sons and daughters of men shall see visions beyond the veil. Some visions are of my light, and some are of shadows. The true Spirit bringeth love, humility, and the lifting up of those below, that they too may ascend. The false spirit speaketh of glory, thrones, and self, that it may bind the soul in delusion. Therefore, measure ye all that is seen and heard by these three. Does it awaken love? Does it humble the heart? Does it uplift the children of men? If it doeth these, it is of Jehovah. If it doeth not, it is of the Druge, and ye shall not be deceived." This captures the essence of everything we've been exploring. NDEs are real, but discernment through love, humility, and service is the key. It's been a deep and meaningful journey exploring this topic with you all. So, my brothers and sisters, I shall depart in saying, walk in love, humility, and light. Ase, Amen Onai Ho.